Well, good evening. Welcome to Referee's Corner here on IslandStats.com. I'm your host, Earl Basden. Joining me is none other than two FIFA referee or two FIFA officials in Zachary Ziegler and Caleb Wales. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me tonight. But because both of you were involved in the FIFA World Cup last year. A huge accomplishment for anyone in the sport of football. I know everybody looks at the players, but as officials, it's got to be one of the top things on your bucket list if it was, in fact, your first time. So, Caleb, let me ask you first. Was that your first FIFA World Cup?
Yes, it was my first World Cup, and it is a huge accomplishment, a big deal for everyone in my country, my family, and colleagues overall.
Yeah. And Ziegler, what about you? Was that your first ever World Cup?
Yeah, it was my first senior World Cup. So it was like just like you say, everybody dream. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like a dream.
So, so let me stay with you, Ziegler, and I'm going to ask you the same question, Caleb. When you get the call or you get the email that you've been appointed to the World Cup, I mean, everybody wants to be in the World Cup, whether you're a player, even spectators. But when you get that email or you get that phone call that your ticket has been pulled, you're going to the World Cup. Take us through that emotion of all the work that you've done over the course of the years that's now being rewarded of sorts.
Yeah. So when I received the email, I was like crying, some tears of happiness, because you're thinking about the sacrifice that you put, and then it's finally rewarded. So yeah, it was like a day. That was the happiest day of my life, I think. Yeah, one of the best moments of my life.
What about you, Caleb? Same sort of feeling?
Yeah, I was overjoyed. I was, jumping, and I mean, it was, as you say, it's on your bucket list as one of the top things to achieve. And hearing my name call, getting the email notification, getting the WhatsApp and the congratulatory messages from everyone, it was overwhelming. My phone was ringing off the hook nonstop, and it was such an incredible joy to be selected for that tournament.
Now, I'm going to say to both of you, it's a good thing you don't have to qualify. Well, you do have to qualify, but you don't have to qualify because you see how the players celebrate when they qualify for a World Cup. But you have to wait to find out whether or not, the job that you've done in the lead ups and all of that, get you through to that. But um, when you look back at your journey, and then you get this email, you get this phone call that says you're going to the World Cup. Caleb, take us through your journey, and we're going to bring in Gisette in just a few minutes. But Caleb, take us through your journey.
Well, yeah, everyone's journey is very different, and mine was super unique in that usually the lead up to the World Cup is 4 years, and they have a team who you work with, and you go on pre-tournaments. I was kind of slotted into a team within the a year or two before that, so it was incredible that I was able to be considered and be appointed finally. And a lot of people are not aware this was actually my first major FIFA tournament ever. So it was incredible to get that notification and be representing the region in this tournament.
Ziegler, can you take us through your journey as well? I mean, like Caleb said, everybody's journey is different.
Yeah. So I think my journey started out. I was selected for the under 17 World Cup that was in 2019, and then went together with the referee trio to what's the tournament? Olympics, yeah. And so then after the Olympics, it was just like waiting if we were gonna be selected or not. But it was like a 3 years journey. Yeah. So it started from 2019. Yeah.
And I want to welcome Gisette. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I'm tired.
You worked hard today?
Yes, I'm coming from work, so I'm tired.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, Gisette, you have been officiating for quite some time, but take us through that. And I want people to understand the emotions of when you get, your first major tournament, or you're making history in a sense that you made history as one of two females officiating the Nations League in 2019. So take us through that emotion of when you get that, again, email or phone call that you've been selected to officiate this major tournament in the region.
The Nations League you're referring to, or World Cup? Nations League in 2019. Okay. In 2019, I was surprised because they do games leading up to the finals of the Nations League, and I wasn't a part of doing those games. So when I got selected to be among the finalists or the persons that are doing the finals, I was shocked, happy, and overwhelmed to know that I was, selected based on performance. Yeah.
And I wanted to do it in sequence. So let's talk about that World Cup that you get selected for as well. I mean, everyone. We were talking to Ziegler and Caleb earlier about, everybody's dream is to play in a World Cup. It could be under 15, 17. It could be the senior men, senior women's. But a World Cup is a World Cup is a World Cup. But as an official, take us through that emotion of when you get that you have been selected call or email.
Okay, so last year, October, I went to Under 17 Females World Cup. I was happy about being selected. My team, Odette and Stephanie from Jamaica, we were a team and we went to India for the Under 17 Females World Cup. It was an overwhelming feeling. I was happy, to be among the list of persons selected around the world to represent myself and my country as being an official. But being at the Under 20 World Cup in May, I was shocked. I was surprised because after the Under 17 World Cup for the females, I wasn't expecting the Under 20 Men's World Cup because mostly men officiate men World Cup. So after the Under 17, we were thinking about the Senior Women's World Cup. And when I was not selected, I was saying that, okay, just bounce back and keep working to go at another tournament. And I think it was in January or February, I got a call saying that I should prepare myself because my name was called up as one of the persons that they want to represent the region at the Under 20 Men's World Cup. And I was saying, Under 20 Men's World Cup? Are you certain? Me, really? And I was like, I wasn't thinking about it because my aim was the senior women's, and once I didn't get the call, then I took World Cup off my mind, just working on local games and in CONCACAF. But when I got the call that I should prepare myself for that, I don't even know the feeling, how to explain the feeling that I felt when I got the call. But it was amazing though.
Sure. Ziegler, I'm gonna come back to you. Take us through when you would have first started officiating. Uh, did you have goals and aspirations of taking it to like a professional atmosphere, or were you just looking to help out getting games, completed?
Yeah, so when I finished the course, the referee course back home was in 2012. So I had put like a standard for me, like in 5 years or 3 years, I should do games in the top division in my country in Suriname. But after 1 year, I was FIFA, so I was surprised. And so after I received the badge, my main goal was to go to a Gold Cup. Yeah, that was my main goal. I never. Yeah, everybody wished to go to a World Cup, but yeah, it's not easy to go to a World Cup. So I was like, the Gold Cup is good for me. Yeah.
And Caleb, what about you when you would have first gotten your start? What was your initial goal set for you?
Well, I would have started much earlier than Zachary. I would have done the refereeing course in 2006. And at the time, I was still attending university. So my main goal was to get out of university, get my degree. And I was doing refereeing as a kind of part time job where I would just do my schoolwork and then have my bag pack and go and do games. So at the time, it was just a way to get to stay active in a sport you love and be physically fit and give back to that game. It was until 2012, around 2012 is when I was alerted of the option of going international, becoming a FIFA referee. At the time, it was a challenge that no that few referees would dream of, even becoming an international referee. So my aim in that was just to do my best, and hopefully they put me up. They put me up in 2013. So at that time when I became international, I just want to always do my best job, be representing Trinidad and Tobago in an international tournament, international games. And that's when I now realize there's levels to this, and there's CONCACAF tournaments. So in 2015, I think I did my first CONCACAF under 20 tournament. I was just a reserve referee. There were a lot of big names in the field, so you never imagine, getting a lot of games. I still got 2 games, and I was happy for that. So my aim is always just to do my best, and I wrote it down years ago. I want to attend a World Cup finals. I want to officiate a World Cup finals, and after so many years, I finally got that down. Now I have more goals of even reaching more and more tournaments like that.
That that'll be good advice for some youngsters. Set yourself goals each time. When you reach that next mark, you set yourself another goal. But it's got to be, you have to be able to want to achieve it, obviously, because it's up to you whether or not you do it. But Gisette, take us through, when you would have first started officiating, and what was your initial ambitions when it comes to officiating?
I would have started in 2013. I actually did the exam in 2012, but then I was still in college, and refereeing was never a part of my aim. I played football, so I just wanted to play football and play football. But then after college, because I had to do refereeing as a part of a course that I majored in, because I majored in football. So we did the written test, and I had to do a fitness test. And after the fitness test, I was being asked to just try out refereeing, and I was saying no, I wasn't interested. I just wanted to play. But after a year, 2013, I said, okay, why not give it a try? And I started training Saturday mornings at GC Foster College. And then after that, I started doing uh, female game, we don't have female games in Jamaica, just a limited females here. So football matches for females are not so much popular as males. So I started out in major league, and just coming into football or refereeing and doing a major league game, you being a little girl, and the big men saying that you do not understand the game and you don't know anything. I remember my first game, it was in a very bad community, and the field was open to the community, so you know that you have the spectators right behind you. And one team wanted to win the game to go through, and it was, I think, 5 minutes left in the game, and the team scored, and I held up my flag for offside, and the game was held up for about 10 minutes because everybody came down saying that it was not offside, and and it was in a bad area. But the decision was good in the end. And then from that, many thought that having that experience, you would have said, oh, well, refereeing is not for me because, you don't want to be killed or you don't want to get injured. But then I said, you know what, I'm just going to try it out because I saw that, it was something that I liked and I was able to do it because, playing the sport and then actually going into refereeing, it is much easier because you would have already know the game. So you understand the laws. So you would be able to apply as it relates to refereeing. So after that, I tried out, and in 2017, I got the badge. In 2015, I went to Cayman Islands. We had a youth tournament, and that is my first international tournament, not being a FIFA. But in 2017, I got the badge and I went to Dallas Cup. And first time being to Dallas Cup, I only did the under 19 games. And I officiated the finals of the Dallas Cup that year. And it went on great for me. So after that, I started doing Premier League in Jamaica, not much female games. And then after that, we had a lot of CONCACAF tournaments, under 17, under 20. I remember going to under 20 men, and I officiated in the finals. He was 28, 2018. 2018, I officiated in the finals. And then after that, I kept getting more experience from different games, different levels, both from the female level and both from the men level. And doing more and more men games, it taught me to be stronger in my personality and also in the decision making because as for females, the decisions for female games is much more technical than that of the men because some things happen and you wonder how on earth did that happen. But the experience from doing all the games made me into a better individual, and I was able to do more and more games, and I was able to advance and be selected to go to the Gold Cup and also for the World Cup.
Caleb, let me ask you a question about when play, if you're an assistant referee and when the play is not in your half, what are some of the things you do to make sure you still stay in the game? Because the ball could be in the opponent's half, the other team's half, for quite some time, and then all of a sudden you find yourself, and if you tend to, I guess, fall back on your laurels and just start daydreaming or something, what's some of the things you do that we could pass on to our young people to make sure that they're ready when that ball enters that half of your half of the field?
Yeah, so usually when people talk about refereeing, the first thing that comes to mind is the physical aspect, and just as I mentioned before, the personality. But one important aspect of the game is your mental capacity, mental training, being able to withstand pressure situations as well as non-pressure situations. such as you mentioned when the game is in the other half. You always have to be alert because there are sometimes things happening behind the referee's back that the assistant referee has to help with, the fourth official has to help with. And now, well, they have even more additional referees to assist with that. But in the average game where there's the four on field referees, every person has to keep their eyes open, be alert for any situation that can occur. Always expect what can happen. Always expect the unexpected, and just keep your eyes open, keep your mind sharp. What I do to help with that is sometimes I talk to myself during the game. Say stay alert, stay in line, keep your eyes open, get ready for the next phase where the next problem will be, and just keep talking to yourself, keep asking these questions of yourself, and where your body might fail or your personality might fail, your mind will overcome and help pull everything together.
Thanks for that. Ziegler, let's talk a little bit about when games are kind of contentious, when there's a lot of um, heavy fouls and so forth. How do you make sure that you stay in control of those games, as an official? Because even if you're running the line, you still have to maintain some control, helping out the referee in the middle.
Yeah, so for that, fall recognition is very important. But as an assistant referee, I always gonna give advice to my referee if like the game is getting too tense, if like there are some bad challenging, bad tackles. So you will always give the referee some advice, and if it's on your side, then you're gonna put your referee cap. So then you're gonna be the referee. And if you have some information like maybe yellow card or red card for the foul, you need to tell the referee. Just give the referee the information, and the referee will take the decision if it's a yellow or red card. But your part has done. You did your part. So the most important thing is information. So, and yeah, you need to talk to the players. Like for example, if players close to me and I see two players are challenging for the ball, I always say, hey, careful, 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 or careful with the hands. So be proactive. Yeah.
And Gisette, for you, let's talk a little bit about the. I know you touched on it a little earlier about the tempo of the female game and the male game, for young ladies getting involved, or even young kids getting involved in officiating. The intense part and I guess the pace of the game. What are some of the things you had to work on to ensure that you were able to manage the pace of the female game and also raise it to the level of what the men were able to do?
I think I think my challenge is not going too fast. So as it relates to the female games, the female games are much slower. Not at the World Cup level, because at the World Cup level you have some teams that matches the level of the men, but for the lower teams like under 20, under 17, you know that their pace is much slower than for the men. It boils down to you analyzing the game and seeing how the players play to know when to move and how to move in the game. So it all depending on your reading and anticipation, because you have in some games, even though the pace is very slow, you might have a counter attack where you know that you have to run to the goal line. So it all depends on the level that you're officiating and the teams that are actually playing. But my my issue per se is trying not to go that fast in whichever game I am officiating.
Well, thank you very much for that. Because I mean, we're trying to also offer advice for our young people here in Bermuda who are officiating, and if they're going to a youth game or they're going to a senior game, whether it be first division, women, whatever. That's great advice of not going too fast. And as well as you, Caleb, and Ziegler, the advice given is for them to be in contact with if they're an assistant referee, be in contact with the referee to make sure that they stay in tune with each part of the game, whether the ball's in your half or not. It's just one of those things where you guys have reached pinnacles that some of these that are starting in Bermuda want to reach, and just small little tips that you guys have been able to offer our young people is very good, and I want to thank you very much. I know you guys have work to do, so I want to thank you for joining the referee show here in Bermuda, and we will look forward to the next time you're able to get down here. Has Cranston booked you, Ziegler? No, not yet.
No.
Well, I'm going to tell you all. Mr. Williams is booked to do a game in January. So, yeah, his booked to do a game. So one thing's for sure, you guys will get a message to game, and we'll film that live. So we want to see Mr. Williams front and center.
Yeah.
He's out training right now. All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. And good luck for the rest of your careers, and we'll keep an eye on you, and hopefully you can get down to Bermuda and assist the Bermuda Football Association in having matches played here in Bermuda. Look forward to seeing you guys on the island. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night.